When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
The trucking industry, like many other sectors, struggled mightily during the pandemic, but is the trucking recession finally starting to come to an end? Joining us on the PNW Ag Network hotline is Mike Chikarsky, co-owner and vice president of JKC Trucking. He has nearly 30 years of experience in the industry. And Mike, thanks so much for joining us. In your assessment, is there a reason for the trucking industry to be optimistic? Are things starting to turn around?
Yeah, so this is, number one, this is great news. Small step in the right direction for the U.S. economy and for the truckers. What we've been dealing, the truckers, and we're still dealing with the shockwaves of the COVID, and since COVID, the volumes have been up, down, and a roller coaster, and honestly, they've declined due to inflation, consumers, food going up only 25%. The people, and the gasoline's gone up, all our costs gone up, and so obviously the consumers have had to cut back on things. And now we're starting to see a small sliver of uptick, which is great because the truckers have been dealing with for 2 years. We've been dealing with nothing but doom and gloom. Houses, number one, just to let everybody know, we still are not back to pre-COVID conditions with volumes, which is kind of scary. Because right now what we're dealing with is something called volume volatility. The consumers are not buying as much product as they used to. So the volumes go down, the rates go down because all the truckers are fighting for the same product. When we do that, it goes to the lowest bidder, and that kind of hurts the trucking industry because since COVID, all our costs have gone up. Insurance, fuel is ridiculously high. Insurance, every one of our costs has gone up, and we have to go, the freight goes to the lowest bidder. That's why you see all these trucking companies going out of business. And we need an uptick, so we stopped fighting for this stuff. We could start, maybe trying to break even so we could, continue rolling the wheels and feeding the American people. It's very, very, and also another thing is economists are predicting that the fourth quarter is supposed to be the best of 2024, which is great news. I hope that happens and it continues into 2025.
Mike, this is, really surprising to see this kind of turnaround so far because if I'm not mistaken, there was a bit of a downturn in the trucking economy the first half of this year.
Yes, but it's still minute, but it's like I said, it's a step in the right direction because we've lost so much money in the first, second, and I would say third quarter, and not including the year prior, 2023 was a very bad year too. It's going in the right direction, which makes me feel better because you're watching the economy, you're watching the stock market, you're seeing all these things go down. And just one way to kind of gauge the U.S. economy is watching what the trucking business is doing, because let's not forget that 70% of all goods are trucked. I think a lot of people learned that during the pandemic, especially in the grocery store. A lot of people just assume that the groceries are in the back of the store, they push them to the front of the store. It really showed how, truck drivers are essential workers, supplying food and everything that Americans need.
I know the crystal ball is usually not as clear as we'd like, but Mike, what are your expectations for the rest of 2024 and looking ahead to 2025?
So right now we're preparing for a busier fourth quarter, which is great. But the fourth quarter of every year is usually, I like to call it the Super Bowl for retailers and et cetera, because how's this? You got the holidays coming, Christmas, New Year's, all the parties. And another thing it's a lot different this year than other years. We have an election going on, and a lot of people are watching for the results of the election. A lot of investors, are preparing. Are they going to dump money more into the economy? Are they going to hold back? So this also has like a tipping point as, when we get elected in November, who's going to take the reins and what's going to happen to the American people. I mean, right now, the biggest issue we're dealing with in the trucking business is, these soaring diesel prices are out of control. It's killing us. And one thing I would like is to America to become energy independent again, because it would help all consumers. A lot of people are saying, well, diesel has nothing to do with me, but it does, because the farmers are using diesel, the producers are using diesel, the truckers are using diesel. Diesel is used across the whole spectrum. The whole world uses diesel also, ships, containers, trains, and all this stuff. But yeah, I'm thinking fourth quarter is going to be better. Hopefully we could kind of get those numbers and volumes up, and into 2025, keep those numbers up and going so it doesn't dip right back down, because since COVID, as soon as we see an uptick, we see a huge decline. And that's why I say it's been a roller coaster, because it's up and down, up and down, up and down. It's almost impossible to predict. So I'm hoping for better days ahead of us.
Before we let you go, one more question. How do you see the efforts to go to alternative fuels impacting the trucking industry, good, bad, or indifferent?
Yeah, how's this? We need to support the truckers. The truckers, we need to get a break with the fuel because it's affecting all of us. And, moving forward, everybody's pushing for clean trucks. And I support green energy, but when we move to a newer fuel, it has to be something better than, these EV trucks that are trying to push on us, because I don't think the EV trucks are going to work, because for five reasons, cost, infrastructure, testing data, driving range is not a thing, less cargo capacity. But what the truckers really need is an affordable hybrid truck, with two systems of power. One shuts down, other one continues, because if this technology fails, the entire supply chain will be dead in the water, and failure is not merely inconvenient, it's going to be catastrophic. This is not an option, especially for the food supply chain of America.
Mike Jakarski with JKC Trucking. Thanks so much for joining us right here on the PNW Ag Network.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.